My name's Colin, welcome to 4oz Insight, and in this video I'm going to focus on the co-main event for UFC 280. This one was a difficult one for me. Before the fight, if I spoke to friends, I told everyone, literally, I don't care. It didn't interest me as a fight, which is, looking back, truly ridiculous because it's a championship fight. And then when I watched the fight, I was disappointed on how it played out, and how can both things be true? How can I be disappointed in the quality of the fight and not particularly care about the fight? It seemed a little incongruent to me. So I had to really think about it. And the conclusion I come to was, the problem I have is that I actually used to really like both these fighters, and I don't think I've crossed that mental hurdle, which is again ridiculous, because my first love is the sport, not particularly the fighters. But you do tend to get into being a fan of particular fighters. So I've got TJ and Aljo. Well, what's my problem with either of those fighters? And I think you probably know. I think some of you might feel the same. I might be completely wrong. TJ beat Henan Barao. Now, we might have forgotten how impactful that was. I remember at some ungodly time in the morning, sort of half squealing, half shouting, trying to be quiet, not to wake the missus and the kids up, after seeing him finish Henan Barao. And then he did it again. The combination of Bang Muay Thai and Alpha Male Wrestling, speed kills, that was what he would go out and say. He was lethal. His footwork, his change of angles. He was a stunning fighter. He then drops down a weight class, loses a fight, which is, you know, there's no shame in that. And we find out that he's on EPO. He gets banned. He takes his medicine. But in the back of my mind, that fighter that I admired so much, was it all EPO? Now, of course, it's not all EPO, but now there's that doubt in my mind. And Aljo, this was someone I was telling people from day dot, this guy might be a champion one day. And then after a few fights, I was like, this guy's definitely going to be a champion one day. And then when the belt was wrapped around his waist and he had that quizzical look on his face, like he didn't really know what was going on, it left a sour taste in my mouth. The question is, was I right to judge these fighters? And while I was walking around, you know, spatting my mouth off, yeah, I thought I was justified. On reflection, no. I have no idea what it's like to get in a cage. I have no idea what's on the line. I don't know how much money truly is attached to the title and the pay-per-view points and you know, bonuses. I have no idea. Should Aljo have taken the belt? He got illegally kneed. I just didn't like the way he went about it. And again, that's my problem, not his. You know, if he'd have got up and said, listen, ref, I'm buzzed, I'm seeing double, I don't think it's safe to fight, would I judge him any differently? I think I would. But why am I judging him at all? You know, I'm not in there. And then TJ. He was one of my favourite fighters. The way he moved, his speed. And I've just been waiting for him to come back to look less good so I could justify in my mind that this was all EPO. And here's what I learned about the fight, the co-main event. It was disappointing. TJ come in injured, his arm popped out of his socket almost straight away. And that proves what a tough SOB that man is. He knew that was going to happen. And he did not quit in that fight. He got beat for money. I mean, beat down for money. And regardless of what I think of him, that shows a tremendous amount of toughness and heart. I mean, it's probably scary enough walking in there. I don't know. I'd be terrified. And fighters often go in injured. We hear that all the time. The man's arm popped out of his socket after, I don't know, the first exchange. Just like, there it was. And he went the whole round, made it back, put his arm back in, went back out. Like, it's not right for me to judge him. And then Aljo did exactly what he was supposed to do. He beat Peter Yan the second time. It was a close fight. I know one judge, I'm pretty sure one judge had it the other way. It was a split decision. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But he beat him. And then he did his job again. And really, the only person that I robbed of any enjoyment was myself. Because I'd set up these preconceived ideas about who they were and what ideal they should hold. So the question is, should we judge fighters for what they do outside the octagon? Or are we watching them for their capacity in their sport to perform at a high level? You know, the EPO one's always, there's an asterisk. There's a few fighters with asterisks. And again, like I said, I think the only person that robbed themselves of any enjoyment was me. So where does this leave the division? Like, there wasn't much to talk about the fight. I don't really want to go into the ins and outs of it. You guys probably already seen it anyway. But where does it leave the division? Well, interestingly, I had a quick look at the rankings this morning. O'Malley's jumped to number 1. That's a big jump. We've got Vera up there at number 4. I think we've got Merab the Machine. I'm not going to say his last name. I don't think I've ever said it out loud. I'll give it a go. Davashili? I'll call him Merab. And I think we've got a little setup there of a 4-man tournament. I don't think O'Malley should fight for the title next. I think he needs one more fight. And I think Merab's a fantastic fight to have. And if Vera fights Aljo, it doesn't matter who wins and loses that. We've got a good setup there. Imagine it. Vera wins the title. O'Malley wins his fight against Merab. We've got Vera O'Malley too. Sells like gold. If Vera doesn't win, we've got Aljo O'Malley. And Aljo needs a bit of O'Malley superstardom to rub off on him at the moment. I think that'll push him up. If we get Vera and Merab going at it, well, that's a good first title defense. You know, top contender, just knocked out the number 1 contender. Yeah. And I don't think he should be number 1. So either way, this plays out nicely. And you can package that up in one event and everyone knows what it means and everyone knows what the outcome is. So there's options out there. And I have to say, Aljo's the champ and he's a fantastic fighter. And I shouldn't have judged him the way that I've judged him. I should be judging him for what he does now. I don't have to like these people. He's a supreme athlete. He's a fantastic fighter. TJ, I don't know when we'll see him again. I don't know if he's had 2 years off. He's had 1 fight. He's come back. He's had another fight. I think he got injured after that fight, his first return fight, after his suspension. And now he's injured again. I don't know if his body's going to hold up in the same way. I mean, his fighting style is, you know, is hard on his body. He fights at 100 miles an hour. He changes angles all the time. He's wrestling, he's punching. Apparently, he trains like a beast. I'm sure they all do. But so I'm not sure when we'll see him again. So that little 4-man tournament. So the question is, I suppose, do we judge them on their personalities or their skills? Was I right or was I wrong? I think I was wrong. I don't think you should judge them on their capabilities outside. You know, sometimes people are less than honest and less than good. It doesn't mean they're not fantastic fighters, and it doesn't mean we shouldn't revere them for what they do inside the octagon, and maybe judge them for what they do outside. I don't know. I'm still working that one out. But let me know what you think. Please use the comment section below. That was my little 4-ounce insight. It was good to speak to you again. Take care.